So the Democrat organizers and politicians who have been fanning the flames of riots all year are now trying to claw their way back into the White House with a possible Biden presidency. What does that tell you about our current state of politics?
I think the most egregious thing about all of this is that the media and their stenographers, the Democrat Party stenographers working in the media, are essentially complicit by not covering these stories. I got to tell you, I posted that picture, that video that you put up of the Trump supporters actually trying to fight back those Antifa thugs in Olympia, Washington, and Instagram made me take it down for extreme and graphic violence. Extreme and graphic violence. There's a bunch of boomers just hitting them with sticks trying to ward off these Antifa thugs. But if you pay attention to the mainstream media, you weren't aware that there were violent Antifa BLM riots in Eugene, Oregon, in Portland, Oregon, in Olympia, Washington, in St. Paul, Minnesota. You had no idea because unless you follow a handful of citizen journalists like Andy Ngo, you weren't aware of it. And it's not like these Antifa people, they're not just a bunch of rabble-routers graffitiing and not really causing any harm. First of all, there have been murders. Everyone knows the name of George Floyd. How many people know the name of Aaron Danielson? He was killed over the summer by Antifa. The Dayton, Ohio shooting, which has been memory holed by the media, he had ties to Antifa. He killed 9 people. And these are the people who are now working in the president's transition team. You ask people on the left and they say, oh no, we don't have anything to do with Antifa. Antifa doesn't represent us any more than the Ku Klux Klan represents people on the right. Really, because we don't have Klan members among our ranks and in the highest position. If Joe Biden is expecting to go to the White House, he can't have Antifa members who are killing Trump supporters in the street. Aaron Danielson, a Trump supporter, that's why he was killed, for exclusively who he voted for. They're killing them, and those same people who associate and support that group are now working at high levels within the Democrat Party and in Joe Biden's transition team. I think that is a really daunting prospect for the future of our country if Joe Biden somehow makes his way into the White House.
And what concerns me is a lot of these Antifa and BLM, they're usually their kids. A lot of them are young teens, young adults, and that really scares me because they're going to grow up to be the next voting demographic. And it scares me, who are they going to vote for? Because this is a group of people to who socialism is no longer a dirty word. So someone like AOC and her Green New Deal and all these other proposals that the far left has won't have the same effect that it does today with the normal voting base between Democrats and Republicans. They hear socialism, they go, not for me. So that concerns me moving ahead, and especially because today is December 7th. It was supposed to be a day that lives in infamy, and yet here we are less than eight decades later, and I feel like most young people our age don't know anything about Pearl Harbor. They don't know anything about what this day represents, because the young people today, we've been taught to hate our country, to hate our foundings, and to almost think that we deserve to be attacked. And so when I see these young thugs out in the streets, it makes me think something has to give. Do you think something will give in these next few upcoming weeks?
I hope that what I think is going to happen doesn't actually happen, because we're already at the point, I used to go and say, I'm foreseeing bloodshed in the streets. I don't want to sound dramatic. I don't want to sound extreme, but that's where we're heading, folks. And we're there. If Antifa beating people's heads in with pipes, if Antifa killing people, if BLM going around in Washington, D.C. and physically assaulting Trump supporters is not an example of bloodshed in the streets, I don't know what is. And that's what's going to have to give. We are at a certain point where we have actual physical altercations defining our politics. And for young people, the young people love socialism. Socialism is wildly popular. I don't think they know what that actually leads to. And so you have BLM and you have Antifa, and they have different ideologies, but where they come together is the fact that they really believe in this sort of Marxist, chaotic, we hate America. That's really what brings them together, is their hatred for America. And in their minds, America deserves all of the bad things that happen to us. America may have deserved the terrorist attacks because America is an evil, rotten place that is completely just despotic and authoritarian. And it's really funny because you look at Marxists, you look at the Antifa ideology, and they envision an authoritarian government that controls their own state. They just don't want that state to be America. And I really don't know what the way to fight that is, but when you see Trump supporters actually fighting back, you have too many people within the media, within social media, within the government saying, no, this didn't happen, pay no attention to it. And so I think it's going to get ugly. And I think you asked what at what point do we have to give? I think I think it's going to get bloody. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And it's really depressing to talk about, but that's where we are.